Hello and welcome to the Complete Lakers podcast. I'm Anthony Wilson, recording from Los Angeles, California. So about 20, 30 minutes ago, the Lakers got finished losing to the Spurs at the arena formerly known as Staples Center. The final score was Spurs 132, Lakers 119. Luka Doncic finished with 35 points, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists. In a losing effort, he shot 11 of 24 from the field. LeBron finished with 17 points, 15 rebounds, and 8 assists on 7 of 14 shooting. Austin Reeves had another off night by his standards. Only 15 points on 6 of 16 shooting, but he did add 8 rebounds and 7 assists to his stat line. Stephon Castle of the Spurs was the best player on the court. He finished with 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists on 10 of 14 shooting. And the Spurs advanced to the semifinals of the NBA Cup on Saturday against the Thunder, who they gave the Thunder gave they gave the poor Suns a wallop in the night. The final score was 138-89. So that's a 49-point win for the Suns. The Suns were without Devin Booker, but still, that just goes to the point I was making the last time about the Lakers and how the Lakers are a team that plays down their competition, while the Thunder are a team that they play the worst team in the league with the same intensity that they would face the Nuggets or the Lakers or any other top team in the league. So, and I think tonight watching the Lakers play the Spurs, first thing I thought early on watching was that it seemed like the Lakers just didn't want no parts of the Thunder on Saturday. That's what it seemed like to me. They came out, and it just seemed like they weren't giving their best effort. It almost seemed like the Spurs weren't giving their best effort too. Like neither team wanted to play the Thunder, and then it ended up being the looks like the Spurs said, okay, well if they don't want it, we'll take it, right? The Lakers, they made a rally at the end to make it. They kind of leaked to 8 there in the fourth quarter. I think the Spurs led by as much as I know it was at least 21. They led by, and they pretty much controlled the game from the end of the first quarter on. And but yeah, that's how I felt watching. Is that the Lakers were like, bruh, they already got their ass kicked by the Thunder earlier this season. It's like the Thunder kick everybody's ass, and they saw what the Thunder did tonight. And they just said, why even bother, right? Because we're not going to be able to do anything with those boys, So, yeah, that's how I looked at it, and it's funny because it ties into that point I was making about the Lakers being basically lazy, watching them tonight. Not only did they look lazy, but they look soft. They're not as physical. San Antonio was attacking the basket relentlessly. There was a huge free throw disparity. The Spurs shot 36 free throws. The Lakers shot 23. I guess it was greater than that of a disparity at one point. But yeah, I just feel like the Lakers, like some of the same problems that we saw last year in that playoff series against Minnesota, where Minnesota just brought so much more intensity than the Lakers did. Some of those things they still remain, and they brought in Marcus Smart. The big piece was DeAndre Ayton. And I feel like Ayton, who's been great this year, he made the Lakers bigger and he made the Lakers more talented, but what he didn't do is make the Lakers tougher, And once again, it goes back. I guess it's just a Hollywood thing, man. goes back to um, like I said, the Shaq Kobe teams. As long as I've been, um, like I said, I didn't get to watch. I don't remember anything of Showtime, the Showtime Lakers. I was 3 years old when it ended in '91. I know those teams were tough though, but even they had a reputation at first before they got in. And they proved their mettle and their toughness against the Celtics, and later on against the Pistons. Uh, but like when they were playing the Celtics, I remember like that first time in '84. I think after they lost that series, and it even bled over into '85. I think until they finally responded. But they had that reputation of being like more of a finesse, Hollywood type of team. And like I said, when you have a whole bunch of talent, which the Lakers have now, which they obviously always had during the Kobe championship years, uh, and of course, I mean, Lakers are the most star-studded franchise in the history of the NBA. Uh, I don't know. And then you play in this city, and this city is so. I mean, I guess it's just something. I mean, there's something about this city. I guess that just makes people want to relax. And the sun's always shining. But they, uh, yeah, this Lakers team, you know, I mean, and not only that, not only are they not that tough, but they're not that athletic either. Like LeBron is almost 41 years old, probably still the most athletic uh, player on this team, and who's in the regular rotation. You know, makes you wonder. Maybe I mean I can't say that they should play Bronny more, but they need more Bronny like athletes on the team. I hope it's too bad they don't have more guys like that in the rotation. I'm just talking about just athletically, like young legs. What's crazy that the Lakers are not an old team. The Lakers are a pretty young team. You know, I think Marcus Smart is 31. Obviously, LeBron is almost 41. But other than that, pretty much everyone is in their 20s, I think. So, yeah, I just think it's just, I don't know. And I talked about Luka last time, how I think the team is taking on his personality, being a laid back, eh, you know, the reputation that, European players historically always had was that they were lazy, and that's why, um, uh, basically Nico Harrison was like, bro, I'm tired of this shit. And honestly, like I said, bro, it's been great being able to watch Luka. He's made the team way better. But you can kind of see sometimes what, um, especially after 6 years, where Nico Harrison might have looked at this situation and go, I want to be better defensively. You know, the Lakers are it's a lot of Van Gundy kept stressing it, and he kind of foretold that little run they made there at the end. They're down by 19. He said 19 points in the modern NBA is nothing. Even it was like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It's nothing with a team as much firepower as the Lakers have. Lakers do have a lot of firepower, but they don't have they don't have like San Antonio would just get the ball and push and get right to the basket. The Lakers don't have that type of team of athletes that can do that. They have Austin and Luka are not great athletes. They're great basketball players, but they're not great athletes. So, but the Lakers never really had. The Lakers have always sacrificed stuff like that for like high end, superstar talent. You know, now when the best days of LeBron and AD, it was different. Like that 2023 team that they had. I mean, they had some teams. Rob was kind of cooking it first. The LeBron, because LeBron. I mean, AD, and he started to play better with. Well, I can say he started to play better. He was hurt, and he came back, and I know he had a big game recently since that first game back when he played against us. But he, AD is historically he's been a super freak athlete, same as LeBron. So I would say 2020 with LeBron and AD, and then you got a bunch of long wing, guys on the perimeter. You got, you had Kuzma, you had Rondo, you had Avery Bradley, you had some guys who could, kind of like, the OKC team now. Alex Caruso. Um, and then I really thought that team they had the next year was like that with these big, long, like pterodactyl-like guys who like can run and jump. And then the team that they had in 2023, like I said, bro, when we made the trade for Luka, that really just transformed the team completely because of the way Luka plays. Luka's a slow down, methodical type player. He's a great basketball player, not a great athlete. When you think of speed and leaping ability and stuff like that, explosiveness as an athlete, that's not his bag. It's not his forte. But the same thing with Austin Reeves, right? So yeah, with AD, we were a lot more athletic. Like I was saying, the 2023 team with LeBron and AD, some of those other guys. That was the type of team that it's like, man, this team is big and they're long and they can switch. And then, 80 there, like, holding off the middle. Like I was thinking about that the other day. I was listening to Bill Simmons when he was talking to Max Kellerman about it, like AD, how, like, in that series against Golden State in 2023, when like Curry would just dribble from one side of the paint all the way around and then circle all the way around because there's no point in putting up a shot while AD was down there. Those first two series, what he did defensively was amazing. But now it's a different type of team. Aiden, like I said, he's made him bigger and more talented, but he's not really an intimidator at the rim as far as shot blocking goes. And his first was just attacking the rim, like nobody was there. So maybe that can be what LeBron, what he brings is like different to this team, is his ability to attack there. Of course, it's not going to be good for his legs as the season progresses, but much was made of. I mentioned Max. He has a new podcast now with Rich Paul. The second one came out today. The first one came out a couple nights ago, 2 nights ago to be exact. And he and Rich were talking, and Rich was saying that the Lakers, he didn't think the Lakers were contenders. That it got a lot of noise on social media and everything. But if you watch tonight, they made Rich Paul look like a prophet, like. And I think like I said, I didn't think they played that hard, but you can just also see like there's certain things that they are just fundamental to this team. They're like I said, they're not that athletic. They can't. It's like the Spurs got Fox and Castle and Harper and these young guards, and the Lakers have 2 great guards in Luka and Austin, but they're not fleet of foot in that way. The Lakers can't really keep up. So we just have to. I just see the Lakers don't play again until December 18th against Utah. So that's a week and 1 day from today. So another nice little rest for the Lakers as they gear up for the Christmas Day game against the Rockets. So that's good. And I'll be able to take a break, perhaps, from the podcast. But yeah, Max and Rich, I don't really have much to say. I just thought it was interesting that the Ringer didn't really push it enough, that first episode, because, I kept going back and forth and channels. Like, it first came out, because I was looking for it the day that, it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I was looking for it all Monday, then it didn't drop until like late Monday night around this time. And I was looking, and even now it's like 25,000 views after 2 days. It's like, bro, this is Max Kellerman's big return to general. He's been doing the boxing thing, but this is his big return to, you know, sports punditry, general sports punditry. And then you have up there with Rich Paul, only 25,000 views. I mean, it's, guys who have YouTube channels, just regular guys, kind of who, I mean, talking about Max Kellerman's been a huge name and fixture in sports media. It's safe for that little break he took when he got let go by ESPN. He's been doing. So I mean, he's been in the spotlight for a long time. It's a huge name. And you put him with Rich Paul. I don't know. I said it's a strange combo, but Rich, after that first episode, now a couple days later, he looked like he knew what he was talking about. And so, but I just thought it was weird. It's like, is the Ringer not gonna? Maybe I'm missing something. Because why does that thing only have? It have like at least 100,000 views in 2 days. You think about, I mean, the interview that Max did with Simmons, that did hella numbers. Especially when he was talking about when the solo. I mean, the full episode did like. So I don't know. I don't know if it's like 200. Like 258,000 last I checked or something like that. And then the segment where he talked about Stephen A. and his departure from First Take, that did like that clip did like 700 something thousand last I checked. So, like why I just feel like the Ringer has kind of dropped the ball on that. Like a lot of people, I think it seems like a lot of people might not realize that it's that this podcast exists. It's like 25,000 is okay for like a regular person, but not for Max Kellerman and Rich Paul. And then elsewhere, we had LeBron on his podcast with Steve Nash, Mind the Game. He was saying that that the Lakers, basically he was saying that I don't know Nash if he posed the question or what it was, but LeBron was saying that he felt like his best season was 2018. He said that was a season where he felt like that he was just the most complete as a basketball player, like he could do no wrong on the basketball court. And of course, that was his last season in Cleveland before he came to the Lakers, when the team was stripped down, and he still carried them to the finals, and lost to the of course the Warriors. And I agree. I always like that version of LeBron the most, probably that second Cavs stint version of LeBron. I always liked the first Cavs stint version too. He just didn't win a championship during that stint. But like his like during that first Cavs stint, he was that's when he was like, just a god amongst men as an athlete, right? It's incredible, the most athletic person to ever play the game. Just the hops at his size, and they can run the floor, the speed. But then he goes to Miami. Like he was 25 when he played his last game, that first team with the Cavs. Then he goes to Miami, and wins a couple championships. Becomes a killer, has those big, the 45 and 15, the 40, 12 and 8, wins a couple titles. But he in Miami he played in a system, the Spoelstra system. And then he goes back to the Cavs, and now when he goes back to the Cavs, he's won a couple titles, so he's got that monkey off his back. He's become a killer. He's still the most athletic man in sports, probably. And his offensive game has rounded out. His three-point shot, and it's just, he's just completely unstoppable as an offensive player. Of course, he's still the best, passer in the game, the best mind in the game, And it really is a shame that Durant went to the Warriors, because LeBron would have at least 5 championships by now, if Durant doesn't go to the Warriors. I don't think there's any question about that. So it just kind of sucks. But yeah, I agree that was the best version of LeBron. Was right, where these anywhere between 2015 and 2018, I would agree that that was the best version uh, of LeBron James. Um, I saw somebody talking about something on social media. I'm not sure what sparked it, but it was a Kobe versus Duncan debate. And I'm someone who uh, so the last time I made a list, I think I had Duncan one spot ahead of Kobe. I've had Kobe ahead of Duncan. I kind of just go back and forth on that. Um, Historically, I always had a MJ as my number one. Period. Right. Uh, and then I used to have Bill Russell 2, Kareem 3, LeBron 4. You know, Wilt 5, Magic 6, then Duncan 7, Kobe 8, or vice versa. Then Bird 9 and Shaq 10, Curry 11, and Hakeem 12. And that's my 12, period, in any order. And then I realized that having Bill Russell second, is a little bit outdated, but then I asked myself, okay, when I drop him down, how far can I drop him down? Before I'm like, well, no, it's not right to put that person over the great Bill Russell, a true legend of the sport. And basically, I'm fine having uh, Mike over him still, and I'm fine bumping Kareem ahead of him, and I'm fine bumping LeBron ahead of him. But that's where I draw the line. Anybody else, uh, it just it would feel improper because I feel like Will playing with the when he was playing with the Lakers, right? From 70 to 73, you know, sorry, 69 to 70. That's 5 years. They only won the one title. I know one of those years Wilt was hurt, but 69, 70, 71, right? Uh, One of those years Wilt was hurt. I don't remember if he played in playoffs or not. Uh, and in 72, Baylor gets, but they still won the title in 72. And then in 73, they make the finals again. So they made the finals in 69, 70, 72, and 73. But I feel like I basically just kind of feel like if you put Russell in Wilt's place, playing with West and Baylor and Goodrich, he wins more than one title in 5 years. That's just that's just how I feel about it, And so that's why I have Russell 4 now. I have Wilt 5 and Magic 6. Oh, that could go either way, but also just it, it's I feel if I'm just a little bit more okay with having Wilt, uh, I'd feel I'd feel worse leaving Wilt out the top 5 than I do than I do leaving Magic out of it. That's nothing against Magic, you know, but it's how I feel, right? Um, in my gut, and so and then it goes like I said, uh, Duncan and Kobe. I've had it the other way around. I feel like career wise, um, Max Kellerman, he said something interesting on when he was talking to Simmons. He said, if you have nothing, you'd rather have LeBron if you try to win a championship. If you have nothing else on the team, you'd rather have LeBron. But if you have anything, if you have something, you'd rather have Jordan, right? Um, I feel like Tim Duncan, especially back in the era, right? Like Simmons was saying, like Kobe had those few years where the Lakers weren't that good, right after the first few years after he traded Shaq. Missed the playoffs the first year, then 45 wins, 42 wins. Simmons was saying, well, there's no 45 win even Tim Duncan season. And he's right. So I think if you had nothing, or if you had nothing around them, rather have Tim Duncan. Like, that's 2003 season that he won they won that title. I mean, that's a young Parker's in his second year. Ginobili's a rookie. It was like a 25-year, 26-year-old rookie, but still, it wasn't Ginobili that we would come to see. Even when even the Parker we would come to see quite. Uh, and they won the title, you know. So that's like Kobe. You know, could Kobe have won the title with like young Bynum? And I don't know. I don't know who else to put in that. You know, I mean, that year that we had Bynum and before the trade, you know, we were like the best team in the West already before the Gasol trade. Of course, Bynum got hurt, then we traded for Gasol. Um, and I think, you know, probably still make the finals that year, maybe if without even without the trade, if Bynum is healthy. I mean, but we don't beat the Celtics, of course. So yeah, I mean, Tim Duncan was amazing. He was always my favorite. Not him and LeBron. Tim Duncan was my favorite non-Laker growing up, and then LeBron came along and kind of shared that mantle. Uh, Tim Duncan was my favorite non-Laker until like I was like 15, and then when LeBron hit the league, then LeBron took over. So yeah, but I mean, you know, the thing with me is that there are some series, and I understand that like when we had Shaq and Kobe, that was like, I mean, it really wasn't fair to the Spurs, right? Spurs. You look at in 2001 and 2000, they tried up to 99 before Phil got here, but then in 2001 and 2002, we went 8-1 against them in back-to-back postseasons. And then next year they came back and beat us. Uh, but I just feel like that was the type of like the 2002 series was actually pretty close, but it just when it came right down to it, like I like the difference between the Lakers because Lakers went 4-2 against the Spurs in the playoffs between two. Let's see, it was between '99 and 2008. We went 4-2 against. So they beat us in '99 and '03. We beat them in '01, '02, '04, and '08. And I feel like okay, so in '02 it wasn't really a fair fight. '01 and '02, but in '04 they're up against us 4-2 in the series. And if you go back and look at it, like what that series really came down to, other than the .4 shot, was just the Spurs did not have anyone during that era that era that we ruled with them. You know, they didn't have anybody who could match Kobe shot for shot down the stretch. You know, and I feel like that was the difference. You know, like in 2004, yeah, like that was like I mean, that was the last year of Shaq and Kobe. The Spurs were really good. They were the defending champions. We had Malone and Peyton, but Malone was on one leg. And he was it was at the very end. GP was right damn near at the end. He played a few more years after that, but the GP thing never really. He was good for us that year. Played every game, but that never worked out really like the way we wished it had. And so, you know, like that whole four series, like go back and look at Game 6 of that series when it came down to, because they just couldn't. Kobe, Kobe. There's never been anybody that I would rather have. If you had an 8-point lead in the fourth quarter and you were trying to close out a series, or trying to close out a playoff game, and it was a close game, you know, maybe not for the last shot you want Kobe, but as a closer, that's something else about Kobe that's become underrated over time. You know, just how good of a closer he was. Maybe he wasn't hitting the last shot every time, but just in these like in a really close game, in a playoff game, or even a regular season game, you know, where it's like, bruh, can you keep us? Can you? It's close. Can you push us ahead a little bit? Can you keep us ahead by 4, 6, 8, and push to 10 or something like that? Never saw anybody better than Kobe Bryant, you know. Of course, Tim Duncan being a big man, he couldn't match Kobe in that regard. Same thing happened in 2008. The series was pretty close, but down the stretch, they just couldn't match Kobe basket for basket. And I say all that while saying this last time I made a list, I had Duncan ahead of Kobe. So I don't know what I'm saying, really. I don't know what my point is. I mean, So uh, I mean, they were just two all time. It's like Bird and Magic. You can't really pick one over the other, really. You know, they were just both so great in such different ways. You know, uh, but yeah, man. Before I get out of here, just a reminder to hit that subscribe button next to the Complete Podcast Network, and to follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at TC Pod Network. You can also send feedback and mailback questions to Complete Lakers Podcast at gmail.com. I am out.